Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jennifer Bober, and I work in marketing and communications here at Renew International. We are thrilled to have you with us this afternoon for an information session on our latest offering, Baptism Matters. We are very excited about this new program and what we think it can do for your parishes and for your baptismal programs. Just a little housekeeping as we begin. This session is being recorded, so I will be sending out a copy of the recording to you after we're done. And also, I will be monitoring the question box and the chat box. So as we're going along, if you have any questions, please type them in as we're going, because if you're anything like me, if I wait to the end, forget it, it'll occur to me and it will go away as I listen to what else is going on. So please do put those in as you think of it, and at the end we'll have a question and answer period that Mary will then answer your questions. So our presenter this afternoon is Mary Foy. She's the program manager for this new offering. Take it away, Mary.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So glad that you can join us today. We're going to talk a little bit about our new program, Baptism Matters, and how you could take this opportunity to not only prepare families in your parish for the sacrament, but to evangelize them, to reach out to them in a new way, and to make this baptism not necessarily a drive-through one-shot deal. Keep them connected with the parish, connected with the church, connected with other families, and to help them to grow in their faith as parents, as well as to prepare their child for baptism. So today we're going to talk a little bit about baptism. We're going to run through, some of the thoughts behind our program and some of the characteristics of our program that make it stand out and may make it a really good fit for your particular parish. So we're going to go to the PowerPoint. There we are. Okay, first a little bit about Renew International. If you're not familiar with us, we've been around about 40 years, over 40 years, and our mission is to renew personal faith and parish life by unlocking the power of small groups, equipping the laity and clergy to share their Catholic faith and to live it every day. So our focus on this baptism program is not necessarily only baptism, but it's a look to the long view, to having the people who we encounter have a special relationship with us, with the parish, and with the Lord. We may know that baptism matters, and we can appreciate that, but not everybody does. We all wish we were our picture on my left, that all these happy moms and kids going to church, but if you have a young adult, or even if you have an older teen or even a younger teen, you might look more like the picture on the other side. Oh no, when we first came up with the idea for this program, we met with directors and baptism coordinators from parishes around the country. And many of them said the same things. They said, we don't know why people are bringing their children to baptism. Maybe they don't go to Mass. They don't understand the sacrament. A lot of people are doing it just to appease grandma and grandpa. Their head is not always in the place we wish it would be when we were going to help them have their child baptized. They may be a little hesitant. They may not have much of a faith life themselves. But how can we get them excited about baptism, and how can we get them excited about their faith? And it really does start at the door, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on too. Okay, what do we know about young families? From books like Growing Young and Going, Gone, and some parish studies, we know that young families today are not the young families they were when maybe we were young, we were babies, or even before then. young families, we list a couple of characteristics here. They are crazy busy. There's gymnastics, there's soccer, and this is only at like 9 months old, right? A study done by Dr. Joseph White said that by the time a child is 3 years old, their tribe is already formed. Their calendar is already filled at 3 years old. They have the soccer, they have gymnastics, dance, kinder music courses, there's baby tumbling, baby gyms. By the time they're 3, their life is busy. Even before the baby's born, their life is busy. More and more families have both parents working in the house, or they're single parent families, and their calendar is full. They're also, more and more families are non-traditional than they had been in the past. You know, we're seeing more and more families everywhere in all sorts of socioeconomic areas that are not traditionally mom and dad and the baby. There's single parent families, both single moms and single dads. There's children being raised by grandparents, aunts and uncles. There's children in foster care or adoptive situations. There's many families that are in non-traditional sort of forms. They're not, the parents may not be married, they may not be together, they may be on other sides of the world. You know, we talk to military dioceses where, you know, one parent's here with the children, the other parent is in Kuwait, deployed, or just working out, you know, into another area. So parents are not, you know, always able to come like on a Saturday afternoon, or come in the evening or during the day, and to do meetings and classes and that kind of thing that they used to be able to do, you know, when families were more intact and more formed, and you know, grandma and grandpa watched the kids and mom and dad came to the baptism class. It seems that many of our young families are not as well catechized as we would hope they are. For the kids who grew up in the 90s and the, you know, 2000s, that era, religious formation was not always all it could have been. And as the church moved away from being the center of the activity for the family, the center of, you know, where we learned things, where we prepared for the sacraments, where we went to mass, where we went to other activities, that catechism sort of fell down on the ladder. So many of our parents now don't understand the sacraments, baptism or any of them. They don't have a very good grasp on the importance of being part of the church. They don't understand why it's so important to have their child baptized. You know, and they may because they've never been taught themselves. Young families today are also very tech orientated. You know, we talk about the family comes into the parish to register, and you say, well, here's your form, fax it back to me. Well, it's not 1989. We want to email it. We want to fill out forms online. You know, people now are more and more tech orientated. Like if you were to say to someone, I'm going to give you a DVD to go home and watch, or a CD to listen to. There's young people now who you don't have a CD. Nobody buys a CD. It's all on your phone. Everything's on your phone. Your phone is your tablet is your TV. It's your radio. It's your, you know, phonograph, your stereo system, your camera, your videotape recorder. Everything is a phone or a tablet or even a laptop. They're very tech orientated, and that's how they learn. You know, us who are not so young, not so old either, but we're not so young. We're sort of technical immigrants. I love that term, that we're in a new world trying to make our way. But the young families of today in the 20s and even in the 30s are tech natives. They've grown up with this. They've had it from the beginning. I mean, kids are going to first grade now and they're getting a tablet. First grade. Kindergarten, they're doing work on tablets. It's a very tech-orientated world. My friend who is a librarian says she loves story time at the library because the babies will go over to the board books and start to swipe the pictures to make them change like they do on the tablet without knowing to turn the page. So we're a very tech-orientated generation. So they tend to be attracted and drawn to tech-orientated solutions. Reading a book is difficult. Reading an article on your tablet, that's easier. They're also looking for community. You know, even in this world of social media and connectiveness with the, you know, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Snapchat, people are lonelier than they've ever been because the personal contact is not there the way it was years ago when you meet, you know, a bunch of people at the park, or you know, meet other moms, you know, yeah, you meet them somewhat at school, but sometimes, you know, the babysitter drops them at school while mom goes to work, and parents don't get that connection. Young people don't get that connection they did anymore. They're looking for a community of their peers, people who are the same age and who are, you know, similar age and who have similar concerns to them. There's other characteristics too. We're not going to go into all of them right now, but these are some of the things we held in our head when we started to think about our baptism program. So what are some things parishes can do looking at these characteristics? Well, the first thing that you do is provide more scheduling options. You know, in my parish, we have an altar rosary society, and they want to know, how come nobody in the altar rosary society is under 80 years old? Their meetings are Monday at 1 p.m. You're not going to get a lot of people under 80 who are free Monday at 1 p.m. We have to think outside the box. We have to start thinking about other times when families would be available other than, you know, 7 to 9 in the evening or 9 to 12 on Saturday, different options, you know, doing things right after the Mass or even right before a Mass, or, you know, there was one group that met and had a small group discussion while the kids were practicing soccer, you know, at the field. You have to think outside the box, different ways to make it easier for these parents and these families to participate. We have to meet them where they are. Some of these young people may have made some life choices that we may have not agreed with, but they're here, and their children are here. And no matter what they say or how they act, there has to be something in them, the smallest little seed that's going to grow into a feeling of faith and a feeling of growth and a feeling of the littlest thing to just make them, there must be a kernel of faith in there somewhere that wants to grow, that appeals to them. Because if it didn't appeal to them, they wouldn't even bring their kid for baptism at all, even though they say they're doing it just because grandma and grandpa does it. If you have older teens or older kids yourself, if there's really, really something they don't want to do, they're not going to do it for anybody. So we have to respect that little bit of faith in them, that little fire, and we have to meet them wherever they are in their faith journey and their life journey. Since many are not very well catechized, we need to start with the basics. For those who go to Mass every week and, you know, have studied and read scripture and all this, the basics may be a little redundant, but we can't assume anymore that people understand terminology, church words, you know, that we use all the time. You know, I was talking to somebody once and he says, oh, you know, a deacon, when I do the preparation for baptism, I stress the importance of the domestic church. Domestic church. I said, well, do you explain what, what the, no, everybody knows what the domestic church is. I said, what is it, like Swiss cheese? It's opposed to the imported church? I'll have half a pound of domestic church. So a lot of parents who don't know what that means. So we need to go back to that very basics and, assume that we're laying the foundation. And it'll either be, wow, I didn't know that, or, oh, I knew that already. As we reach out to these young families, we need to embrace technology. We need to not be afraid of it, and we need to not be worried about how we interact with it. Our material has to be good quality. It has to be well made. It has to be accessible. It has to be current. Nothing's gonna, when a family goes to a website, say, find out about your parish, how to sign up, and they see, they go to your homepage and they see, schedule of Christmas masses in 1998. Well, they're not going to think that's a real current web page. You have to make the effort to keep the web page up to where it needs to be. So that, all our materials, they have to be current, they have to be accessible, they have to be, we have to be comfortable enough with them to work with these young families on this. We also need to provide opportunities for them to meet other people in the parish. Maybe they go to Mass and maybe they don't. What they're looking for are other couples of the same age babies. On Facebook, there's entire groups, moms due in March, moms due in September, where they exchange notes and then pictures of their babies when they're born. And this all brings them together in a community of other parents who are in the same or similar situation. They're also looking, since many people now live apart from in different parts of the country or the world than their parents or their grandparents, they're looking for mentors. They're looking for people to help them who've been through this, to give them tips through life, to walk with them, to accompany them through this. If we provide opportunities for people in the parish to connect with these young families, it will ensure that they'll be more open to the faith and have a more positive experience, and that they'll be more comfortable with other people in the parish and other people, in sharing their faith. And that's the evangelization part. So here's the first page of our program, Baptism Matters. And I just love that little baby there. See, she's just baptized. She got the water beading on her head. We came up with this program after looking at all those things that were going on with with young families and young people, and also looking at the things that were going on in the world and, problems that parishes told us they had. And we said, it's time for something different, a different program. Something that reaches these folks where they are and helps them, sort of a painless baptism prep program. Painless not only for the parents and the families, but painless for the people in charge of it as well. Everybody who works in a parish or volunteers in a parish is busy, and we don't want to add to your work. We want to make your life easier. How does the program work? The program consists of two different parts, really. We have online learning modules for parents and families, and also ones for godparents. These modules talk about things like the history of the sacrament of baptism, how to raise your children in the faith, how to pass the faith along to your godchildren, and the signs and the symbols that are involved in the sacrament. Each of these modules consists of this catechetical information, what's needed, which we took directly from the General Directory for Catechesis. So we're making sure that we're covering all the bases that the church asks parents to be informed about before the sacrament. We also have a personal witness in each of the modules, where moms and dads and godparents talk about their experience with the sacrament. How, maybe they didn't go to church before, but they go now, and, what this faith journey has meant to them and how it has helped them to go on with, to continue to grow their own faith, and some of the hurdles that they experienced and that they went through. And then at the end, there's an assessment. We call it takeout points. It's just 5 multiple choice questions, just to sort of, see if what we've said in the module, if it sparks, if it's stayed in there somewhere. Just a quick little assessment at the end. It's not a test. We don't call it a test. You don't pass or fail. And if the assessment's answered incorrectly, it'll take you back in the module where to look, and it'll show you the correct answer. What's unique about our program is that it also includes online learning modules for staff and baptism teams. This has information on current research and some best practices. We have modules about welcoming families. We have modules, best practices for getting to know families, record keeping, how to deal with special situations. All that's included in the staff and baptism team modules. Welcome makes such a big difference. We spoke to parents again all over the country, and they would say, well, I went to my parish and I rang the doorbell and it went honk, and they buzzed me in, and I went in and I said, I want to get my baby baptized. And they said, are you a member? That was the first thing out of their mouth. Not hello, not good afternoon. There was one parish we found online that they had a form to fill out for parents bringing their families bringing their children for baptism. The first question on the top of the form was envelope number. That's an evangelization move. So we talk about ways, yes, we need certain information and we need to find out certain things about the family. But we talk about best practices that other parishes and other people have found that help facilitate this meeting and this working together. We also include materials for parishes to facilitate small group faith sharing meetings with families, 1 or 2 meetings. We give a format. You can do the format in 1 session. You can do the format in 2 or 3 sessions, depending on how you want to break it up. But it's scripted and timed, so you can follow right along, even if you've never facilitated a group before. Renew International's foundation is small group faith sharing. If you think back to the days of the early church, the church didn't grow always by, one person talking in the amphitheater. There were groups that met in people's houses and personal invitations to come and see. Some of Jesus's most moving times were conversations with individuals. We have materials in the program that allow your parish to set up 1 or more meetings, say for all the families whose kids are getting baptized in January or February. Let's get them all together. Oh, your baby was born in March, so's mine. Oh, look at this. Oh, he's this big. Oh, he's that big. And we talk about mentor couples, how to find couples and individuals to work with these families and to help invite them to things. Because, if you put in the bulletin, parish picnic on Saturday, you may or may not get people there. And these families may not have been at Mass to pick up a bulletin. But if a mentor calls them up and says, hey, are you coming to the parish picnic on Saturday? We'd love to see how big little Timmy got. Oh, all right. If you've had a baby or had somebody in your family had a baby, or if you're a grandparent, you know that the minute that test comes back positive, you start getting emails. And you start getting mails from the diaper companies and the formula companies and the high chair people and the stroller people trying to sell you different equipment and different things that for your baby. And they're tracked to your stage in the pregnancy and in your child's development. Another unique characteristic of our program is the follow-up emails that your families will get from Renew on the child's birthday and on the anniversary of their baptism up until they turn 5. And that last email will say, it's time to go back to your parish and look into religious formation for your child. These emails are not specific to your parish. They're specific to the child's developmental stage. And it will include tips in there from our friends at Holy Cross Family Ministries, the folks who run CatholicMom.com. It's a very popular website for Catholic parents to go in and find out, how can I amuse my child during Mass and keep them from having a tantrum? How can I teach my preschooler the Hail Mary? Practical tips like that. And they also have coloring pages for the different holy days and a lot of other materials that families can use. For Advent, they had how to make your own Advent chain of good deeds, where you wrote good deeds on a piece of paper and then stapled them together to make a chain. And you saw how long your chain got, from as you started the beginning of Advent through till Christmas. Those are some things that are unique to our program. What are the particular benefits of Baptism Matters? The program is totally online, accessible from anywhere. If you've got Wi-Fi, you've got Baptism Matters. If you have godparents who are out of the country, you have parents who are separated by distance due to military or school obligations, they can all access this program from where they are. The modules, since they're online and they're not a printed book, they can be updated instantly as needed with new information or new requirements. Some of you may know a new translation of the Rite of Baptism came out this year, just in January, and everyone in the U.S. will be obligated to use it, priests and deacons, after Easter Sunday this year. There's been some changes in the translation of what some of the prayers that are used and some of the order of the rite. So if that happens again, we see, well, in our video we said this happened. Well, that slide can easily be shifted out, and you could have the most up-to-date, most current information on the sacrament that you would need right at your fingertips. You don't have to wait till you use up the books, and then you could order a new one. Baptism Matters allows for identical formation for every baptism family in your parish. If you have a larger parish, you may have more than one person doing baptism prep. And everybody has their own style and their own, way of approaching it, and that's a great thing. Everybody has their own learning style, everybody has their own teaching style. But sometimes the level of information may not be equal for all parents, all families coming to your parish. Maybe one family came late and missed a part of the class, so they only got the last half hour. Or maybe, somebody was supposed to teach it, but they were ill or away, and somebody else had to step in at the last minute. And, so there's a lot of variables that can affect how a family is formed. These online modules are accessible anytime, any place. If a family starts to watch a module and then, baby cries or they have to go to work, it will stop where they left off, and next time they log in, they'll be able to pick it right back up, right where they left off. So you don't have to worry about somebody missing something because they had to leave the room or they had to tend to the baby or, you could pick up right exactly where you left off. We said before how busy now parish staff is, and a lot of times staff and volunteers, the numbers are not what they were. This program, putting the heavy lifting of the sort of the didactic, the factual part of baptism online, frees up the parish staff and the team to spend their time with the families, forming true pastoral relationships, real getting to know you time. If you only have 90 minutes a week to spend on baptism prep, and you have to sit there and explain what the candle is and why we use it. What about the oil? Where does it come from? How do we get it? What time do you have to show up? What should the baby wear? Who could be a godparent? You don't have a lot of time to sit and get to know them. This way, that 90 minutes or 2 hours or whatever time that you have to spend with these families, you can truly spend with them, getting to know them person to person. The program is totally online, and all of the user's manual, the in-person sharing guides, the registration certificates, it's all online or downloadable as PDFs. There's no books. There's no papers to keep track of, to make copies of. I know in our parish, we had a very good preschool religious formation program, and the person who was, the director of it had a fire in their house and all the teachers' manuals burnt. Nobody's fault, but we had to go out and buy all new teachers' manuals. Or sometimes people move away, or stuff gets lost, or you find yourself called in at the last minute to do something and you don't have copies of the forms or anything like that. This is all contained on the website. Everything that you will need to do this program is on this website. You also have, behind this program, 40+ years of pastoral experience from Renew International. We were in the game early. We've worked with thousands of people, parishes of all types around the world. We know how small groups work. We can help you find a way that works best for your parish to make this program work and to bring these young families into the heart of the community. We have a dedicated help email that you could always ask questions of. And we also have, there's also the next, we'll talk about information on ways to contact us. So I know there are a ton of baptism prep programs. There's new ones coming out, it seems, every day. And we've looked at a lot of them. But we haven't found anything else that has all of these components in it. The totally online accessibility, the total freedom for you as a team, a staff, a pastoral team to work out what's best for your parish, the constant updating of the program so that it's always current, always fresh. Our modules and videos, we strive to be inclusive. We have all different kinds of babies, all different kinds of families. This is my most fun part of doing the program, was looking through all those pictures of all those babies and getting to pick out the ones who would be on the slides or in the videos. It's just, it's a non-threatening, warm, fuzzy way for young families who may not think church is necessarily where they want to be, to rethink that, to say, gee, here's some people who care about me. Here's some people who care about my baby and my family. Maybe this is something I want to check out. And now you've heard a little bit about the program, this may be something you want to check out too. So if you're interested in knowing more, my phone number and email, I'm Mary Foy, as we said before, Associate Director of Pastoral Services and Project Lead for Baptism Matters. Our Director of Sales and Marketing, Deacon Pete Fiore, his number and his contact information is up there. And also Rich Vossler, who's the Sales Associate who's working with Baptism Matters. Any of us, email or call us. I don't have the main number up there for Renew, but I didn't put it on the slide, but it's this. I'm going to say it slow so you can write it down if you have to. 888-433-3221. Let me give it to you one more time. This is the toll-free number for Renew. 888-433-3221. And there's our extensions. And also our website, renewintl.org. So I think we're to the point where we can see if we have any questions or anything like that, folks, if you've had any thoughts or anything you want to ask, like our little friend here who's scratching his head and trying to figure out what's going on. I know it's a lot of information in a little time, but I wanted to try to give you at least an overview of our program and how it can help you.
Thank you so much, Mary. We do have a question. What makes Baptism Matters different from an evangelization point of view?
We connect with the families not only about baptism, but about the rest of their life. Our mentor couples and our group faith sharing situations are to get them re-engaged with the faith. You know, there's some young people who haven't been to church since their confirmation. And this way, rather than baptism, just the formation for baptism just being like a drive-through, like you drive to the first window and we teach you about baptism, you drive to the second window and you get baptized, you drive to the third window, get your certificate and drive away. The focus is, of course, on forming the parents for the sacrament, but also on refocusing the parents on the church and on their place in the church and the place of faith in their lives.
Wonderful. And, you know, having worked with Mary and having looked at this program, you know, one of the other wonderful things about it, I'm a data person. I love to be able to get data and to see things, is that as a pastoral team, you know, you'll have a login from your end, and as a parish, you'll be able to actually go in and see exactly where people are in the process. You can see exactly where they are, and you know which modules they've gone through, have they gotten through the whole thing, so you can see all of those things for within your parish. So we have another question that's come in. Are materials available in Spanish and in other languages?
At this point, if anyone who's been in a bicultural parish, be it Spanish and English or English and anything else, the experience of baptism culturally is very different in the Latino world than it is in the English-speaking world. So no, it's not available right now, but will it be? Yes, but it may look different. You know, one thing we found out when we did research with this is that, you know, it's a different, the experience of godparents is a very different experience in that culture. And we want to, when we do a translation of it, when we do this program in Spanish, we want to be respectful of those customs and of those differences that make their baptisms a little bit different. So the answer is not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, and that is something that we at Renew are very cognizant of, is that we don't just want to translate our materials. We want to enculturate our materials so that someone reading them in their native language feels that it actually speaks to them, not like they're getting something that really speaks to someone else. We really want things to be enculturated too.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we're just going to put this in Google and it's going to come Spanish out the other end and good luck. Yeah.
Okay. Someone else is asking, the pricing for the program be sent out, or do we need to contact the sales rep for more information?
I
I would suggest contacting the sales rep. That is really the best way to do it, because they can, talk to you about your specific situation and, let you know how it'll work for you. Because some parishes want to do things one way, some parishes want to do things another way as far as how they break out costs. So.
Yeah, definitely. That's the best way. Even if you just shoot them an email, either Deacon Pete or Rich, and they'll be able to fill you in exactly. There is a fee for the parish, a yearly fee for the parish to sign on, and then there is a nominal fee for the accessing of the parent modules. And they'll be able to fill you in more about that.
They will be thrilled to hear from you, actually.
They would.
So I'll give it a moment or two here, because it does take a moment or two for questions to pop up. So please, if you have any other questions, do type them in. We love having people type in questions. It shows us that you're actually here and you're listening, and you stayed all the way to the end. Well, it looks like we are done with our questions. Though if you have others, you have my email address, because I sent you all the instructions. Oh, let's see. Do the prep teams see assessments?
They don't see the actual answers that the people put in, because this module's not marked as completed until the family's gotten them all right. So if they have to go back and redo it 3 or 4 times, they won't get checked off on the dashboard that they've completed it until they've all gotten it right. So you won't know which individual ones they got wrong.
So we have a wonderful, wonderful question. Is Baptism Matters available now?
Now, yes, hot off the press. That's another joy of having it online. If you were to call Deacon Pete or Rich right now, get on the phone the minute we finish here, and talk to them and decide that this was going to work for your parish, they would take your information, and you would receive, I would say, probably 3 or 4 business days, one of those emails, welcome to Baptism Matters, here's your login information, and everything else you need would come after you've gone to your login. So yeah, immediately. That's the joy of being online.
Okay, another question is, can they do a trial period?
Again, speak to Deacon Peter Rich. There are some sample look-sees, like we can give you access for a finite amount of time to take a look at it, to look at all the different modules. They can work out for you if you're going to do it differently than that. But there's certainly options. I wouldn't expect you to just buy a pig in a poke, as they say. You want to see if this is going to really meet your needs.
Right. So another question, this is wonderful. Are the follow-up emails able to be edited?
As of this time, no. There's stock ones that come out, sort of the ones like Pampers sends out, when your kid's 6 months old or whatever. But because you'll have the dashboard, you will have all the contact information for your parents and your godparents. So you can certainly formulate a parish email that you want to send out at the first birthday or the second birthday, or however you want to do it, and you can send it out that way. You'll have that contact information.
So they can get one from Renew, from Baptism Matters, and then they can get one that's for the from the parish itself.
Right.
Someone's asking, what is the cost to the parish?
Again, I'm going to refer you to Deacon Peter, to Rich, because again, it's a very individual sort of thing. So I'm not being evasive, but they're the ones who would know better. I don't want to tell you one thing and then have it not be true,
She's in charge of the content, not the pricing.
Yeah.
Okay. Does parish staff training include how to form disciples?
it does be in the sense that how to interact with the families to keep them involved with the parish and to keep them involved with the church, and to maybe one day even have them be baptism mentor families. So it does talk about discipleship, but among a kind of limited audience. You know, it doesn't talk about how to make your whole parish disciples, but it does talk about how to sort of capture these parents and mold them so that they can go forward and spread the word of God.
Wonderful. This is a very exciting program to us here at Renew. We are really thrilled to be able to bring this to parishes and to see how it helps you really engage these young families. You know, we know that that's the demographic that we're losing the fastest, and we want to keep these people in the church. The church has so much to offer. So it looks like that may be the end of the questions. I'll give it another second here, just in case something pops up.
And again, if you come up with a question, you know, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you say, oh, I forgot to ask this, you can certainly call or email, and we'd be happy. Any one of us would be happy to help you out.
So thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Mary, so much for sharing all this wonderful information about this great new program. And we hope you all have a wonderful afternoon, and we appreciate you being here. You have a great day. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye-bye.